Now, they have back there at the Smithsonian the actual uniform that he wore. So I copied this uniform, that is, I made sketches, I measured the buttons and even the sewing around the buttonholes. Now, this sword, they showed me several swords. Some of this stuff was up on the 4th floor, but this particular sword, they have a history of. This particular sword, Washington presented to Lafayette at Valley Forge. So we know that this sword was at Valley Forge. Now, the saddle up here, at that time, English riding saddles were exactly as an English riding saddle looks today. But if I'd put that in, people would say, ha, you put in a modern saddle, see? Even though it was authentic. So it's not enough to be authentic. But I found this, here I have a sketch of it. This is a British military saddle. Now, Washington, commanded in the French and Indian War. He commanded for the British under General Braddock. And so I believe he would have kept one of these saddles. And you see, it looks historic. It gives a historic genuineness to it that if I'd have put in a regular saddle, it would have been sort of questionable. Notice up here in the brow band, you see, that goes across. Those are the Washington's family colors. It's sort of an off-white and a sort of a brick red. They wound one around the other, but those are Washington's family colors. People wonder about, what's this? This is a pistol holster. I saw the actual ones that Washington had. The usual ones don't have the brass tip, but his did. Now these are the old long pistols before they had revolvers, and you could only get off 2 shots, but then the other guy could only get off 2 shots, then you had to ride into a canyon and reload. Now the horse himself, it's no particular one horse. Washington was a big man, a tall, massive man. He was 6'3", I believe, wore a size 13 boot. And his hands, both the sculptor Houdon and Lafayette, both said he had the largest hands they'd ever seen on a human. He used to sit at a table and crack walnuts, didn't bother with a nutcracker, he did it with his bare hands. Not only did he have big hands, but the attitude of the hands was very crucial in this picture. I was trying to show the burden that can fall on only a leader. Now, if you went to church in Washington's time, you held your hands this way, see? But these are not the hands of a man in church. These are the hands of a man desperate. So these hands are extremely important. In fact, you might say the hands are the whole picture, the most important part of it. This is a symbolic picture, and people understand that right away. The symbolism of the kind of man he was, that he prayed and that he developed aid from what he called divine providence. A friend of mine, Merrill Wood, had large and very expressive hands. When I was doing the picture, I said, come on over, Merrill, let me make a quick study of your hands. So he was very proud of that afterward, and he always claimed he had a hand in the picture. Of course, the whole purpose of this picture is to bring to the minds of the viewer the cold and the hunger and the suffering of that period. See, a picture has an ability, it conjures up in our minds and our hearts the early sufferings and how they depended upon what they call divine providence for help. So that's why this picture was done, to pay tribute to Washington and to the entire history of how our revolution came about, and the suffering and the cold and the dependence upon divine help. I hope this picture will be around for years to come. I feel good about leaving this to the world, and I hope that through this picture, people seeing it will whisper the spirit of Valley Forge. I consider it an indispensable duty to close this last solemn act of my official life by commending the interests of our dearest country to the protection of Almighty God, and those who have the superintendence of them into His holy keeping.